I think we don't go wrong with Be Thou My Vision. I will tell you, however, that we had some trouble with the Carillon Company because we wanted Be Thou My Vision, and they said, well, we can't do that because it's copyrighted. And I said, well, we did it before. And nothing was programmed when they got us here. So they installed the Carillon and nothing was programmed. And I said, well, I called the salesman and I said, well, thank you very much. You've sold us a really nice box of junk that doesn't work. Please help us. And he said, oh, it was supposed to be programmed. I'll call you right back. And he called back, and then a couple of days later, somebody sent Janice a real nice note that said, oh, you got Be Thou My Vision on there now. So when you hear the Carillon, you will hear Be Thou My Vision playing. We heard it on Friday night when we were here for Trunk or Treat. It's working well. The new Carillon is here. Rejoice. Yay. And has Be Thou My Vision. We read today from Habakkuk. Habakkuk, of course, a prophet, talking to the exiles in Israel. And let's see if I can find it quickly, because that's hard for me to see still. I can't, so let's do it this way. Habakkuk, the oracle that the prophet Habakkuk said, O Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not listen? O cry to you violence, and you will not save. Why do you make me, let's see if I do it this way. There, that's better. Why do you make me see wrongdoing and look at trouble? Destruction and violence are before me. Strife and contention arise. So the law becomes slack and justice never prevails. The wicked surround the righteous. Therefore, judgment comes forth perverted. I will stand at my watchpost and station myself on the rampart. I will keep watch to see what he will say to me and what he will answer concerning my complaint. Then the Lord answered, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so that a runner may see it. For there is still a vision for the appointed time. It speaks of the end and does not lie. If it seems to tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Look at the proud. Their spirit is not right in them, but the righteous live by their faith. And then we go to the 19th chapter of Luke. Remember that we've been in Luke, we've been hearing some parables about tax collectors, and now we get to this parable, or story actually, about the chief tax collector, Zacchaeus, in the 19th chapter, the first 10 verses. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through it. A man was there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and he said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried down and was happy to welcome him. And all who saw it began to grumble and said, "He has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner." Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this church, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek out and to save the lost." Friends, this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So this week was not just Halloween, but All Saints Sunday, which is a holiday of the church where we acknowledge people who have gone before us, and particularly saints who have gone before us. Now, in the Protestant church, a saint has a small s. We all have small s's. We're all saints in some way. Catholic Church has saints with capital S's, St. Peter, St. Paul, all of those. But we have saints with small s's. So we remember the people who have gone before us, our fathers, our mothers, our grandparents, ancestors of some sort. And usually we remember those people well. I had a friend who was a minister once. His brother died while I was at the congregation that he had once served, and where he sat on the front pew every Sunday when I preached. And he came back and said, "I'm not quite sure who that preacher was talking about in that eulogy he gave for my brother, because he had so much angel dust on his wings, I thought he was going to float right out of the casket." Sometimes we think about people with a greater vision than what it is that they truly are. If you think about, for example, our modern day contemporary heroes, who are our heroes? Taylor Swift is a hero. Don't laugh. You are clearly not a 14-year-old girl. The Rock is a hero. Tom Brady is a hero. Various presidents and politicians can be heroes, or astronauts. We sometimes hear things like, "Thank God for our first responders who are heroes," or our military personnel who are heroes. That is all so true. I was thinking this week in particular, my Penn State family is not here today because their kids were involved in a lot of stuff this weekend, but wherever the Greens are, we are Penn State. There we go, baby. But the big game this week was, Penn State and Ohio State, and I was thinking about that. We used to watch the very mighty Ohio State. Do you remember that coach? Beautiful coach they had. Everybody loved him. He would come, my mom was teaching at the time. He would come into the school, and it was like people were seeing a rock star greater than anyone they had ever seen. People loved that guy. People would cry, giving their sons over to him, say, take my son and make him a man. Teach him how to be a good football player. We know you can do it. And I was thinking about that this week and thinking, yeah, but I've never liked Ohio State. Never. My whole family bleeds scarlet and gray. I don't like them. You know why I don't like them? I was 8 years old when I saw that coach reach out from the sideline and clock that kid right in the face because he got an interception and was running down the sideline. I've never forgotten that. It's affected me all my life. See, friends, our heroes are people. And what you have to understand about people is people are flawed. Which means inevitably our heroes will be flawed. Howard Merritt, who is a great contemporary Bible interpreter, says, what are we to do with this wee wretch of a man, Zacchaeus, in this story? My contention for you is Zacchaeus is a flawed hero in this story. Now, Frederick Buechner, who's another guy who everybody loves as a Bible interpreter, I can't ever understand a word the guy's saying, except I did understand this. He says Zacchaeus is a shaved-off little social disaster with a big bank account and a crooked job. I can understand that. A shaved-off little social disaster with a big bank account and a crooked job. Somebody else I was reading said, Zacchaeus is the least favorite member of the Jericho Rotary Club. The guy was not well liked, but let me first, before we totally dismiss him, let you in on a little bit of new scholarship we've come to in the Zacchaeus story. Okay, now first of all, we must understand there is a real thing in Christian education that happens about if we learn something wrong the first time, how do we as the church then go about correcting that? If you have learned something incorrectly, how do we help you learn that differently? For example, Jonah was eaten by a whale. Well, the text doesn't say Jonah was eaten by a whale. The text says Jonah was eaten by a big fish. And they actually have discovered a fish now in the part of the world where Jonah was that has a sinus cavity that's 6 feet long and people can live in it for a couple of days. So, you know, we have to be careful about teaching our kids that Jonah was swallowed by a whale. Well, what do you know about Zacchaeus? He was the chief tax collector, which we presume means he was a cheat. And he was short. Well, dear friends, go back and look at that text in the Bible. Because what it says is, he was short. In a sentence that's talking about both Jesus and Zacchaeus. It's unclear who the antecedent is of that pronoun. Is it Jesus or is it Zacchaeus? Was Jesus short? If Jesus was short and was in a crowd of people, Zacchaeus still would have had to crawl up the tree to be able to see him. Now, I'm looking particularly at Debbie's face. Debbie has the most expressive face when I preach. It's fabulous. She's looking at me going, you got to be out of your head thinking that Jesus was short. I've seen pictures of him. He's 6'2", broad-shouldered, and the pleasantest white-eyed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy I've ever seen. Okay, first of all, Jesus was a Palestinian Jew of the first century, so he probably was about 5'6". But so was everybody around him. But the antecedent in that text is not clear. It might have been Jesus who was short, not Zacchaeus. There's also another problem, though, with a verb in that story. Because what we have seen that sometimes gets interpreted as Zacchaeus meeting Jesus and then completely transforming his life and giving away all he has may not be the way it worked. Because the text in the English says, I will give it away. The text in the Greek says, I am giving it away. Zacchaeus may already, before he even meets Jesus, because he wants to meet Jesus, because he is being faithful in his religion, may already be giving away half of his possessions to the poor. Now you're saying, you're blowing my mind, you're harsh on my mellow. I thought I knew about Zacchaeus, and now I don't know what I know. Here's my point. Zacchaeus is a flawed hero in the story. He may not be as flawed as we want to think he is, but he is flawed enough that people don't like him. People may not like him because they may not know him. They may not know that he is already giving half away to the poor. But they don't like him. The word that it says that they do is that they grumble. That is the same word that the Israelites used against Moses when they were in the desert and they thought they were going to starve to death, and they grumble so loud that they say to God, give us food or we'll starve. And God gives them manna. People are grumbling about Zacchaeus. The word, by the way, in Hebrew actually sounds like grumble. Our heroes are flawed. But see what Jesus does. Jesus looks at a flawed human being. Jesus looks at a shaved off little social disaster with a big bank account and a crooked job and says, I want to come to you. You are the person for me. I still love you even though you are flawed. I want you to be part of me. And people are astonished. People are actually angry. But you know what? We forget. Because we see the flaws and not the goodness. That we're all flawed heroes too. Yeah, that's a sad message. Don't miss this message for your life. If you're doing something you ought not be doing, if you're possessed by some bad habit that is tearing you apart, if you're living a lifestyle that you're ashamed of, if you have somehow gotten away from God and the church, if your heart is not right with God, if you want to change, God has the power to touch your heart and turn your life around. God can give you a new start, a new chance, a new beginning, a new lease on life, a new heart. It happened for Zacchaeus, and it can happen for you. Thanks be to God. Amen.